So I am going to share my screen because I have some notes here. I put some slides together that will act sort of as a guide for me. So when I'm talking to you, I can actually follow the notes and you can read along with me too. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, what is the big question? What is emotional freedom technique and what is EFT? So it's a stress reduction technique. And it's something that you can use to manage your negative emotions or troubling thoughts that you might be having. And it is basically a way that you can lower stress or anxiety. And it can calm you down if you're feeling worried, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad. It's a way, it's almost like doing deep breathing exercises, but there's more to it than that. You know, it's more to it than just going, which a lot of us do when we're stressed out. But this is a way that actually is very effective when you feel like overwhelmed with an emotion, especially negative emotions, not positive emotions. We love positive emotions. This is right. when you're not feeling good. This is when you're feeling upset, right? So what this is EFT tapping is an alternative to acupressure therapy. You know what acupressure or acupuncture is? So this is just, you don't use needles. You're using the tips of your fingers to tap or press on different points that are acupressure points on the hands, the face, and the upper body. And it's been used to treat people, veterans with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's used to help with anxiety, depression, physical pain, and insomnia, if you have any of those issues. And just to kind of get the whole conversation going, do either of you know what happens to our brain when we get stressed out? Anybody want to take a stab at what happens to the brain?
Oh, I'm not sure.
What do you think, Stephanie?
What happened to our brain?
Yeah, what happens to the brain when we get stressed out? It's okay if you don't know. It's not like you're going to pass or fail the test.
Yes, I know.
Swell.
Well, trauma. Well, yeah, it's like a kind of trauma, right? But basically what happens to all of us is this. The brain goes into fight, flight, or freeze response. Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
Have you heard this before, Stephanie? So basically, like, for example, here's different examples of what the fight, flight, freeze response will do when we're in certain situations. Like you're driving your car and somebody in front of you, they hit the brakes, they slam on the brakes right in front of you and they stop. What happens to you? You respond immediately if you're paying attention, right? What do? You hit the brakes fast, right? As long as you are paying attention, you're not on your phone. If you encounter a growling dog, if you're taking a walk in the neighborhood and you see a growling dog, it makes you respond probably with fear, right? You probably want to run away or you want to freeze, you don't know what to do. Or maybe you want to kick the dog because that's the kind of person you are. You know, jumping out of the way of a car or maybe a bicyclist who's on the sidewalk and the bicyclist is coming real fast, or a skateboarder and you jump out of the way. These are all things that happen in an instant, right? You don't even think about it. It just happens like that. So that's what the fight, flight, freeze response is. And basically, I don't know if you can see where my cursor is. Can you see where my cursor is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So when we go into fight, flight, freeze response, this is the part of the brain that takes over. Normally, when we are when we're relaxed and we're learning, or we're just going about our day and we're feeling okay and we're relaxed, the part of the brain that is taking in control is the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thought, reasoning, things like that. When you're going shopping, you know, when you're just in your normal day-to-day stuff, when you're driving your car. But when we go into fight, flight, freeze response, this part of the brain takes over, and we no longer have this part of the brain that's in use. It's really fast how it happens like that too. The hypothalamus, which is in that part of the brain right there, it sends this chemical hormone to the pituitary gland, which sends another chemical hormone to our adrenal glands, which sends out adrenaline. You know what adrenaline is, right?
Yeah.
And then adrenaline, and then it also produces cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And then it all kind of like continues this vicious cycle where we are now in that fight, flight, freeze response. So back in the caveman days, if a tiger is charging you, you react like, it's like to survive. So this is basically our survival mode. We go into survival mode. And the amygdala, it overrides the prefrontal cortex. It takes over this part of the brain. So the amygdala, or the limbic system of the brain, takes over. This is our emotions. It takes over the brain. So we no longer have critical or rational thought. The amygdala commands our emotional reactions. We just respond with emotion, or we quickly move our body to respond. So that's basically what the fight, flight, freeze response does. It's basically, it takes over the brain to put us into survival mode. Okay. Now there's this really cool thing that Dr. Dan Siegel came up with, which I want to show you. So if you took your hand and you held your hand up, this would be like the brain stem, right? This is your brain stem. And then this is the part of the brain that's the reptilian brain. So this is the part of the brain that controls your eating, your sleeping, your breathing, your blood pumping, the heart pumping, the central nervous system, all these things. And then if you were to take your thumb and you crossed your thumb over, that's where the hypothalamus is located. That's where the emotional center is. So that's basically the part of the brain that controls all your emotions. And then if you take the fingers and you put the fingers down over like this is that prefrontal cortex I told you about. That is our rational thought. So what happens is that when we get stressed out or we perceive a fear, this part, the neural pathways, the neural connections between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex, they start to lose their connection. Have you ever been in a fight? Who's ever been in a fight? Have you ever been in a fight? Have you ever been in a serious fight or a conversation and all of a sudden you can't think straight anymore, and suddenly you get really upset? What happens is that you lose the connection to this part of the brain and you literally flip your lid, and now this takes over the brain. So it's all about your emotions now. You can't think rationally anymore. It's like you start cussing, you start shouting, you start getting emotional, and that's because this part of the brain takes over. It's really fascinating, but that's basically what happens, and it happens when you lose control, right? So that's really fascinating when this happens under the fight-flight response. You've got two different parts of the autonomic nervous system. You've got the stress, the sympathetic, which expands your pupils, makes you breathe faster, gets your heart to beat faster, and activates your digestion. It turns off digestion, excuse me, because it's getting your body ready to run or to fight. And this part of the brain, the part of the nervous system, it kind of turns off. This is the part that helps you slow down your breathing, slows down your heart rate, and your digestion starts up again. And when we get stressed out all the time, this part never really gets reactivated again. So when you need to meditate or when you need to take deep breaths, it's to get your body back into this parasympathetic calm state. That's what basically meditation and deep breathing exercises or EFT are good for. So how does EFT help? You're going to tap on different parts of the hands, the face, and the upper body, which are acupressure points, as you talk through the negative experience or the negative emotion that you're feeling. And I'll show you that. I'll demonstrate that for you in just a moment. So in combination of the tapping on these meridian or energy points, you release an energy that's blocked in your body, and you activate your central nervous system to tell your brain to calm down. You're basically telling your brain to tell the body to calm down. And that's what this is basically all about. Now, in addition to things that can cause you to get scared or frightened, you also have trauma. And I know that you've heard the word trauma before. There's different kinds of trauma. There are the big traumas that we all know about. We have car accidents, whether you're in a car or motorcycle accident. If you break an arm, if you break a leg, if you have a major surgery like cancer, or you have to have something, a tumor removed, if you have a serious health diagnosis, cancer or something else, if you are serving in battle, if you're a soldier serving in battle, or if a person is sexually or physically abused, these are all major big traumas that can happen in a person's life. But what a lot of people don't realize is that these small traumas can linger. These are things that people basically don't really think are traumas, but they are. Like feeling abandoned. If you're like 6 years old and you got lost in the grocery store because your mom decided to go walk and shop around the next aisle and didn't take you with them, and suddenly you feel abandoned, you start freaking out, mommy, 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 where did you go, mommy? You know, that kind of thing. Being criticized or put down by your parents or by your brothers and sisters, that can actually cause trauma to you. Being embarrassed by a teacher, a school teacher, or even a fellow classmate, if somebody embarrasses or humiliates you in class or anyplace else. Being neglected, either emotionally or physically, by your parents. Maybe they were good at paying for your clothes. Maybe your parents were really good at taking care of your education. And they put food on the table and they put a roof over your head. But if you were upset, they didn't want to hear it. If you needed to talk about something, they couldn't listen. That's like being emotionally neglected because they didn't soothe you as a parent should, to nurture you and to help you understand your feelings and be able to figure out stuff, you know? You know what gaslighting is? That's like somebody who's basically telling you something they want you to believe, but it's not true. Or they try to tell you that you're out of your mind for thinking a certain way. That's another kind of trauma. And then, you know, simple things like being stung by a wasp or being bitten by a dog, that can also leave a lingering trauma. If you've ever been stung by a bee, and today as a child, but today, if you hear a bee buzzing around, you start doing this, you start freaking out, that's because you were traumatized as a kid. Or if you see a dog approaching you, if you had been bitten by a dog when you were like 5 or 6 years old, and you see that dog running up to you, you're like, no, you know, you freak out because that's what your body remembers. And it's kind of a trauma to you. So there's the big traumas and then there's the little traumas. So with EFT, you can basically deprogram or unprogram your body so that it doesn't respond like it's a trauma. It helps the body calm down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through the basic EFT process. And I'd like you to follow along with me when I do it, but I'm going to explain each one. So first, you have to identify what you're feeling about a particular situation. So are you feeling angry? Are you feeling afraid? Are you feeling sad? And you can even choose other words like I'm feeling anxious, I'm nervous. Like I tapped a little bit before doing this presentation because I was nervous about doing this call today. So I tapped on the nervousness, right? So you can tap on a whole different variety of emotions. And then you need to specify what the situation is that you're feeling about, that emotion. For example, my boss is requiring me to work at the office instead of from home. Maybe that's making me feel anxious because of COVID. Or my wife, my husband, my partner has been really sick and I'm worried about them. I'm worried about them getting better. I'm upset or I'm anxious about the news that I hear on TV every day, about the war, about inflation, about all these different things, you know. The higher cost of groceries, electricity, gas. I'm frustrated, I may be angry, I'm scared. It could be a myriad of things that people respond to with certain emotions. So you just have to be specific with what it is that's causing you to feel upset. So a setup statement, when you do EFT, you need what's called a setup statement. And the setup statement would go something like this. Even though I am feeling blank about blank right here, right now, I am okay. So an example of that would be, even though I am feeling anxious about my having to work at the office because it makes me feel unsafe, right here, right now, I am okay. So that is a setup statement that you have to create just before you start doing EFT. You have to know what it is you're feeling and what is the feeling about. Specifically, what is it about? Then you have to figure out what is the level of intensity of that feeling that you have, of the anxiety that you might be having, the anger you might be having, the sadness you might be having. So there's this scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being, I don't feel, it doesn't bother me at all, to, man, this is really bothering me a lot. So you have to kind of figure out, how do you feel, how anxious or upset or nervous or scared do you feel? So like today, when I was tapping on my nervousness, I guess I was probably about a 5 or a 6. I was a moderate. So I picked a 5 or a 6. So once you figure that out, then you go through this process where you have to have a reminder of what it is you're tapping on. So I'm tapping on this anxiety about my having to work at the office because it makes me feel unsafe. I don't want to get sick. And I feel this anxiety in my stomach, as if you have a physical place in your body, you feel the emotion. This anxiety about my having to work at the office because it makes me feel unsafe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the different tapping points. The first one is the side of the hand, which is called the karate chop point. So you would take your fingers and you would tap like this. The second part would be the top of the head, which is basically right here in the middle, if you can see it. That's the top of the head.
Yeah.
The third spot would be the eyebrow, which is just on the inside of the eyebrow right here. You can either use one hand or both, because you have 2 points. You can tap on this one and this one at the same time if you want, or just one. You can tap on then the side of the eye, which is on the bone right here on the outside of the eye. There's like this bony area, that's the point. And then you move down to just below the eye, which is right below the eye, right there. And you just have to tap gently, you don't have to tap hard. Then you tap underneath the nose and above the upper lip. You then tap on the chin point, which is below the lower lip and the chin. Just below the lower lip and the chin. It's like right between the two, right here. Then you tap on the collarbone point, which is not in the middle, but off to the side a little bit, right there. And then the last part to tap on is 4 inches down below the armpit. And that's where that's your final tapping point. And you can tap like this, or you can even tap both of them like this if you want to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through an actual session on something that I felt like I needed to tap on. And then if you want to try it, we can try it with you too. Okay. So what I'm going to do is my setup statement about having to do this call today, because it made me feel nervous to do this call. Okay. Because I'm not used to it. So this is how it would go. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to go ahead and follow along and repeat everything I say, because I want you to kind of get the experience of it. Okay. So you're gonna repeat everything I said. Here we go. Ready? And tap on the same point that I tap on. Ready? Even though. Stephanie, there you go. I am feeling nervous.
I'm feeling nervous
About doing this Zoom call.
About doing the Zoom call.
Because I'm not used to doing it.
Because I'm not used to doing it.
And I don't want to make a mistake.
I don't want to make a mistake.
Right here, right now, I am okay.
Right here, right now, I am okay.
Good. And then I repeat it 2 more times. Even though I am feeling really nervous.
I am feeling really nervous
about doing this Zoom call today.
About doing the Zoom call today.
Makes me nervous because I'm not used to doing it.
It makes me nervous because I'm not used to doing it.
And I don't want to make a mistake.
I don't want to make
And I don't want to make a mistake.
But right here, right now, I am okay.
right here, right
But
now.
right here and right now, I am okay.
Good. One more time. And even though I'm feeling nervous
And even though I'm feeling nervous
about doing this Zoom call today,
about doing the Zoom call today,
because I'm not used to doing it and I'm afraid of making a mistake,
because I'm not used to doing it and I don't want to make a mistake.
but right here, right now, I am okay.
Yeah, right now.
But right here and right now, I am okay.
Good. Now we go to the top of the head and we repeat the emotion, this nervousness. This nervousness. Go ahead
This
and say it.
nervousness.
Very good. Stephanie, this nervousness.
This is nervous.
Good. And we go to the eyebrow point. I'm feeling nervous.
I'm feeling nervous.
And now we go to the outside of the eye about doing this Zoom call.
About doing the Zoom call.
It makes me uncomfortable because I'm not used to it.
It makes me uncomfortable because I'm not used to it.
And then we go down to the chin, under the nose, because I don't want to make a mistake.
Because I don't want to make a mistake.
So I'm nervous.
So I'm nervous.
I'm nervous.
But I'm going to be okay.
But I'm going to be okay.
Everything is going to be okay.
Okay.
So that is one round of EFT. And then what you do is you go back to the SUDS scale and then you ask yourself, okay, well, if I was a moderate, if I was a 5 or a 6 before, now how do I feel? Did my intensity go up and become more severe, or did it go down, which is what you hope is going to happen, is it goes down. Maybe now it's a 2 or a 3. And if it's gone down, then you know that it's working. And then you can just repeat the whole process one more time. You can go through the whole thing that we just did until it gets down to a 0.
Okay.
And that's really all EFT is.
Mm.
So I'm just kind of curious, do either one of you have something very, very minor, nothing serious, just something like super minor that you'd like to maybe tap on with me?
Mm.
You don't have to. I don't want you to feel on the spot. It's up to you.
I mean, I could use one from work.
Sure.
Just having too much to do and not enough time to do it.
So would you say that
Something like that.
what is the emotion that you're feeling, overwhelmed or stressed? What would be the emotional?
I would say a little anxious.
Okay, good.
Just a little anxious, yeah.
Okay, so you're feeling anxious about all the responsibilities that you have at work right now.
Yeah, I would say too much. I have too many responsibilities that I want to get done, but I feel like I don't have enough time to do it.
Oh, okay, very good, very good. So now on the level of, on the SUDS scale, how would you rate that anxiety that you have about all the so much responsibilities that you don't have time to do?
I would say it's like a 6.
Okay, very good. So the setup statement for that, and I need you to make sure I'm using words that resonate with you, Lorena.
Okay.
So if I were to say to you, even though I am feeling anxious because I have too much to do at work and I don't have enough time to do it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Does that sound about right? But
Yeah.
right here, right now, I'm okay.
Right,
Does
okay.
it sound okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start with the side of the hand and just start
Okay.
tapping on the side of the hand and just repeat after me. Even though I am feeling anxious. And Stephanie, you can tap along with us. It's okay.
I am feeling anxious.
Even though I am feeling anxious because I have too much work to do at the office.
Because I have too much work in the office.
And I don't feel like I have the time to do it all.
And I feel like I don't have enough time to do it all.
Good. You can go ahead and change the words as long as it makes sense for you. Okay. But
Okay.
right here, right now, I am okay.
But right here, right now, I am okay.
Good. One more time. And even though I'm feeling anxious,
And even though I'm feeling anxious,
that I have all these responsibilities at work that I don't think I have time to do,
that I don't have, I'm sorry, because I have too many responsibilities at work and I don't have enough time to do it.
right? And it makes me feel anxious.
And it makes me feel anxious.
Right here, right now, I am okay.
Right here, right now, I am okay.
Very good. One more time. And even though I'm feeling anxious,
And even though I'm feeling anxious,
because I have so many responsibilities at work right now,
because I have so many responsibilities at work right now,
and I just don't feel like I've got the time to get it all done,
and I don't have enough time to get it all done.
but right here, right now, I am okay.
But right here and right now, I am okay.
Good. Okay, so now we go to the top of the head, and we're going to go back to the tapping points. So this anxiety,
So this anxiety,
or you can say this, I'm feeling anxious.
I'm feeling anxious
And then we go to the side of the eye, about all this responsibility at work.
about all this responsibility at work.
I just don't feel like I'm going to have enough time to do all of it.
I feel like I don't have enough time to do all of it.
And it makes me feel anxious.
And it makes me feel anxious.
I don't like to feel like I can't get everything done.
I don't like feeling like I don't have enough time to do. Say that again.
Whatever works for you. Say how you feel.
Yeah, I don't like feeling like I don't have enough time to do it all.
Good, good. It just makes me anxious.
It just makes it makes me feel anxious.
Makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel overwhelmed.
It makes me feel overwhelmed.
Good. Okay, so then we take a deep breath. And we just kind of check in with ourselves. And then we kind of just think, okay, well, I was about a 6 before. Did that help me to go up on the scale, or did it make it go down?
Go down.
Okay, so where do
I
you
would
say it was
put
about
you
a
like
6?
a 4.
So it's gone down to a 4. Very good.
Yeah.
So that means it's working. So all you just need to do is you just do another round. And if any other thoughts came to mind that are part of this anxiety about all the responsibilities at work, if you have any other thoughts, if you feel any sensations in the body that relate to the anxiety, you also can introduce that. So before we start tapping again, do you feel any of this anxiety in the body anywhere?
Mm,
Your stomach, in your chest, in your head?
I would say,
You don't have to.
I mean, it's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, you don't
It's-
have to feel it anywhere, but some people do feel like their
but
emotions.
it's good. Yeah, it's good for you to tell me that, because that way I'll notice it
Yeah,
next. Like if I do feel that way, I'll look for that.
very good. Let's say, for example, you felt it in your stomach. Okay.
Okay.
Well, what we would do is during the tapping, you would say like, and I feel this tightness in my stomach.
Okay.
So that
So
would
you
be
acknowledge it.
to acknowledge the sensation that you're having. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. So
Gotcha.
let's do one more round about the anxiety about having just so much to do at work and not having the time to do it. Okay. Let's go one more
Okay.
time. Even though
Even though
I am feeling anxious
I am feeling anxious
about having all this work to do at the office,
about having all this work to do at the office,
and I just don't feel like I have enough time to get it done.
and I feel like I just don't have enough time to get it done.
It just really makes me anxious.
It just makes me really anxious.
But but right here, right now, I am okay.
But right here and right now, I feel okay.
Good, very good. And even though I'm feeling anxious
And even though I'm feeling anxious
about all this work I have to do at the office,
about all this work I have to do at the office,
and I don't feel like I have enough time to get it done,
and I feel like I don't have enough time to get it done,
right here, right now, I am
Right.
okay.
right here, right now, I am okay.
Good. One more time. And even though I'm feeling anxious
And even though I'm feeling anxious
about this work that I have to get done at the office,
about all this work I have to do at the office,
and I don't feel like I have the time to get it all done,
and I feel like I don't have enough time to get it all done,
kind of makes me feel overwhelmed.
it makes me feel overwhelmed.
But right here, right now, I am okay.
But right here, right now, I am okay.
Very good. Let's go to the top of the head. This remaining anxiety,
This remaining anxiety,
or you can say this remaining feeling of anxiousness. It's whatever you want to say.
this remaining feeling of anxiousness,
Yeah, it's whatever you want to say, Lorena. About all this work I have to do
about all this work I have to do,
that I don't feel like I have enough time to get done.
like I don't feel like I have enough time to get it done.
It just makes me feel anxious and overwhelmed.
It just makes me feel anxious and overwhelmed.
Having so much work to do
So I'm having so much work to do
and feeling like I don't have enough time.
and feeling like I don't have enough time.
It just really makes me feel anxious and overwhelmed.
It just makes me feel anxious and overwhelmed.
Good. So now we just take another deep breath. And we just kind of check in with ourselves. And then you ask yourself, well, it started at a 6, went down to a 4. Did it stay a 4? Did it go up? Did it go down?
I think it went down.
To
It's
like a
gone down.
what?
Like a 2.
Okay. So we don't have to keep doing this, but basically what you would do on your own is you would just do round after round after round until you get it down to a point where it's not bothering you anymore.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you can see the trajectory is going down, right? So
Yeah.
that's what the process is. But what's really important is that you are specific. You have to be, like I said, where is it? This thing is going to let me do its thing here. Yeah, you have to be specific. So if you just said, I'm feeling anxious about work, but you're not saying what it is that's making you feel anxious, it's not going to be as effective. You have to be very specific about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that basically is what EFT is and how you can actually use it. And I have some links for both of you if you want to do some research on your own, to do some further like education on what EFT is. I'm going to put some stuff here in the chat field that you can highlight. You can either click on it and then you can read about it at your leisure.
Okay.
Because I figure like, it's good to get more information especially if you're really interested in it.
Yeah.
And I hope that you're finding it today helpful. I hope that you found it informative.
Yeah. Yeah, it's informative, and I'll use it.
Yeah, trust me, I think it helps a lot. It helps me all the time. It helps me all the time. I use it almost daily. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So these things you're sending, how do we save those? Or
Yeah.
how do we
Well,
can
can you highlight them? Can you highlight them in the chat window and then save them into your browser, or just paste them like on a Word document or a notepad or something like that?
Just
it
only
does
one.
show it as a copy message.
One.
I'll have
Only
to
copy one. Cannot copy all of that. Cannot.
Were you able to figure out how to get the links?
Yeah, we want to save, but cannot. Just only one.
Can you just drag over it with your mouse and highlight it and copy it?
I was able to find all of them.
You were able to highlight all of them, right? And then you can just, yeah. And
I
then
couldn't highlight all of them. But let me
you
try.
could not.
I could not.
Oh, okay.
Me too. I cannot.
Really? Okay, I don't know. If you just click on the link, does it open up a window for you?
Yes.
Okay, so it does do that. So once you open it up in the browser, can you save it, like a bookmark it?
Oh, here it is, chat. Oh, okay.
Can
I
you do
think I
that?
just have to click on each single one to copy it.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you have to do, and then you can open it up in your browser, and then you
Yeah.
can bookmark it for later if you want to read about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I saved a few. Let's
That's
see.
fine. They're just links that you can do more reading about it if you want to learn more about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, Stephanie, Lorena, I certainly hope that you got something out of this today. It's been a fun to work with you.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're
I know
welcome. You're
it
welcome.
helps
I'm
a
going to
lot
try
of
and do another
people.
one again.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll try to do
I-
another one again, and maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe we'll get some more
Okay.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my cousin she sent me a message. She was trying to go in and she was having trouble, but it might
Oh,
be because she needs to download the app or something. I'll have
okay.
to check with her to see what happened.
Okay.
We're in the middle
Esme!
of doing the stuff. I'm like, sorry.
And thank you for volunteering. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
That was awesome. Thank you. Well, I hope
Thank you.
both have a wonderful afternoon, and I can let you guys go now, and you can do whatever you got to do.
All right. Well, you guys, it was good talking to you, both of you.
Bye.
All right, have a
I'll
great
see you
day, both
later.
of you.
You
Take
too.
You
care.
too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.